Welcome to a space where we explore the divine mysteries of faith and spirituality. Today, we delve into the topic of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. You see, when the Holy Spirit's gifts are flowing, it is an expression of the ultimate love, God's love. It's like a benevolent river, nurturing life wherever it flows. So when you sense compassion emanating from within you towards someone, understand that it's not just you, it's the divine in you. God expressing love through you, oftentimes in the form of spiritual gifts. Now, discernment becomes vital here. Not every emotional tide we experience is a manifestation of divine compassion. The world is a maze of emotions, some pure and some not so much. Feelings can be misleading. Attraction could be based on physical appearance or personal benefits, veiling itself as compassion. As one matures in spirituality, they develop the wisdom to tell apart the divine love from mere mortal emotions. When God's love truly flows through us, it acts as a channel for the gifts of the Holy Spirit. These gifts align with the flowing compassion, for God, who is love, expresses through these gifts. So one of the simplest ways to flow in the gifts of the Holy Spirit is to align your heart with God, nurture a deep relationship with Him, and when you feel His compassion flowing through you, act upon it. Once upon a time in the small town of Pritchett, Colorado, there was a humble shepherd tending to his flock. This shepherd, gifted with words, would gather his community every week to share wisdom and comfort. His congregation was small, just about 100 souls, a close-knit family of faith. One day, a new couple wandered into the back of their gathering place. Amidst familiar faces, the woman stood out to the shepherd. It wasn't her looks, but a profound pull he felt towards her, a strange compassion that stirred his heart. He didn't know her story, but he felt a compelling urge to offer her comfort. As the shepherd's sermon drew to a close, he invited the woman to join him at the front. Guided by this inexplicable compassion, he announced that he had a message for her, a message from a higher power. Now, he didn't exactly know what this message was, but he had faith it would come to him. As he began to speak, pouring out words of love and hope, something remarkable happened. It felt as if a hidden layer was revealed to him, a layer not of this physical world but of a spiritual one. He saw a deep grief gnawing at her soul, a grief invisible to the physical eye, a grief only a spiritual sense could perceive. The woman, upon hearing him address her sorrow, crumbled into tears, confirming the shepherd's insight. Guided by divine wisdom, he spoke to her of navigating her grief, of understanding that the misfortunes of life are not the doing of a loving creator, but the work of a destroyer. As the gathering dispersed, she confided in him the source of her torment. Her son had recently been taken away by leukemia, leaving her heartache in its wake. His words had offered her solace, helping her make sense of her loss, reassuring her that it wasn't a benevolent power that had failed her. That day, a shepherd's compassion, guided by a higher power, manifested into comfort for a grieving mother. A story, not of magic or miracles, but of a compassionate heart touched by the divine, capable of seeing beyond the physical world, into the depths of human suffering. Indeed, the power of divine compassion is immense, and when we're touched by it, we ought to follow its promptings. This doesn't necessitate grand gestures or eloquent speeches. Sometimes, it is in simplicity where profundity dwells. An act of kindness, seemingly small in the eyes of the world, can morph into a significant spiritual encounter for the recipient. Allow me to share another story that illustrates this point beautifully. In a small town not too far from ours, lived a man known for his wisdom and kindness. He had dedicated his life to the service of his community, always there with a comforting word or a supportive hand. However, like everyone else, he too was human. And there came a time when he found himself in the throes of a challenging period. The weight of his responsibilities seemed heavier, the light at the end of the tunnel dimmer. One day, during this particularly strenuous phase, something unexpected happened. A call came through to him from a man living 100 miles away, someone he'd never met, someone who had no obligation towards him. The man on the other end of the line said he felt a strong surge of compassion for our friend. He wanted to relay a simple message, one of love and support. He told him, "I don't know why, but I felt moved to tell you that you are loved, deeply and unconditionally." This message, so unexpected, so heartfelt, was a balm on his tired spirit. In the midst of his struggles, this call served as a reminder that he was not alone. The man's words reached him not just through his ear, but touched his heart and soul. The timing was impeccable, almost divine. It was a small act, just a phone call, a few minutes of someone's time. But for our friend, it was as if a wave of calm washed over him, easing his burden. Such is the power of divine compassion. It was as if the man's compassionate impulse was a whisper from the universe, urging him to reach out and share a kind word. This was not just an act of human kindness, but it also felt like the work of a higher force, a gift of the Holy Spirit, working through people to offer comfort, hope, and reassurance. That small act of kindness reverberated with spiritual significance, echoing the powerful notion that love, compassion, and kindness are indeed divine forces in our lives. Such experiences taught me that when we feel compassion for someone, it's not just empathy. It could be God attempting to work through us. Allowing God to flow through us is a conscious decision, and doing so can lead to powerful manifestations of His love and power. When we yield to God and act on divine compassion, we become conduits for His love and gifts. The world is filled with people going through hard times. When you feel moved by divine compassion, follow it up, reach out, act, and see how God works miracles through you. The gifts of the Holy Spirit are ours to share with the world, and they're just a heartbeat of compassion away.